BBD, all about politics now. It's Uber Dhamad everywhere. Every state is in play. Modi is out of his comfort zone. There, Amit Shah is running around wild, not thinking that he's got. Finally the COVID's gone, so he's back again, trying to pretend that he is larger than life. Which, folks, the Bengal result showed anything but larger than life, stronger than life. Nothing of that sort. He's beatable, very beatable, just like Prashant Kishore said. But here's the thing that we got to remember, right? Federalism is in threat. Why is it in threat? It's been tried before, where you try and make the center strong, where there's these two folks from Gujarat are trying to do that. Everything is in the center. Why it's on very tenuous grounds? It's because it's based on a unitary culture, a non-existent unitary culture. Especially a non-existent unitary culture which seems to be driven by the thought from Nagpur that there is a unitary Hindu religion. I don't recognize the religion these guys are throwing up at everybody like Papad. I don't think so. I don't absolutely agree in cow vigilantism. I actually don't believe in Gau is my mata. So that as Prime Minister previous Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had said, can be extremely explosive, especially in a country which is not going anywhere as in the economic sphere either. So let's see what this dyed-in-the-wool closet communal and castiest guy, which his name suggests, a professor at Sri Ram College, Abhinav Prakash Singh, has to write. And this is a problem why we are where we are. India's quest for a strong high-end state. There's nothing called a high-end state. I can understand high-end state if you got, a strong in terms of economics. Nothing. We are like bikaris, right? Hindutva is filling in a historic vacuum of creating a pan-Indianized centralized state. This explains the churn, and this explains, not the churn. It is the problem. It will not succeed as he thinks it will. It will not. The rise of Hindutva has disrupted the status quo as it presents a centralizing through not homogenizing force in Indian polity. The clash between the centripetal and centrifugal forces have been constant features of Indian polity through millennia. One way to look at Hindutva and its vision of unfulfilled state is as the modern avatar of centripetal forces that have found an effective vehicle in Narendra Modi-led Bharatiya Janata Party. I'm telling this, what is his name? Abhinav Prakash Singh. He's obviously from UP. He thinks the world originates in UP, and that's the problem in India actually, right? And it doesn't, right? The march of the BJP even in non-traditional region is unsettling the old regiments and challenging the rule of regional elites of dominant caste. That's not true at all, folks. However, this time India's transformation may be irreversible. It could end up being irreversible, and India might just split up if this continues, right? And this is what Rahul Verma has to write. Very interesting. The roots of BJP's unilateralism. It believes that the opposition to its policies is not principled, and that is true because you see the fools like Jayant Prasad, Jyoti Scindia just jump, and wherever they can stay close to power, they all jump. So there's no principle. That's true. But it shouldn't underestimate social forces. And neither these turncoats that have jumped from the Congress underestimate that. You think this Jyoti Prasad has a following? All these guys who are jumping to the BJP are armchair, lily white, kurta pajama guys from Rahul Gandhi's kitchen cabinet, folks. They've got no ground following, right? The government's unilateral approach is the primary reason for growing disquest, and this unilateralism as a result of the hard-nosed political approach and cold-minded electoral calculations of the Bharatiya Janata Party. My conversation with several BJP leaders and sympathizers suggests that the Modi-Shah doctrine, for right or wrong reasons, is rooted in the belief that opposition to the regime is not based on principled positions, but it's turning out to be now. At the end of the day, the Hindu middle class was so oversold with this concept and hatred for Muslims and the wrong propagation that they were going to take over our country, right? They kind of forgave this government for all the economic disasters in this country, how the people are far more poorer and unemployed. But what they won't forgive, folks, is the death and the indignity of death that these two guys have resulted in, our three guys have resulted in COVID. I think that's where most of our analysts will be wrong. While this uncompromising approach may not lead to an outright defeat at the polls, there is an electoral cost associated with bypassing major social forces in any political setup. It erodes the political legitimacy of the government regime, which can then begin to have electoral implications, and it shows, folks. And it shows where? It shows our federalism is in deep chaos, as Delhi says, center needs to work with states, not clash with them, and rightly so. He says, work with states instead of abusing this as Chief Minister of Delhi. Then what do you have? The BJP, insignificant BJP in Delhi, out in their bills, now coming out. It says, Delhi government failed to protect people from second wave BJP. Tell this fellow, whoever this guy is, what's his name, Adarsh Gupta, that BJP failed to protect the people in India. Forget Delhi. Delhi also was their responsibility because they didn't give us oxygen, right? And then this is what happens when you try and control everything with the center. Sedition charge on Lakshadweep filmmaker. Now see what you happen. Congress protests against rising fuel prices. Finally, and then you have BJP in trouble. Reset signal as the wave abates. PM Modi sounds out leaders, ministers, and nobody is telling him the truth, folks. More later.
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है कि हमारे बाप मर रहे हैं कि हमारी मां मर रही है। कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि हमारे करीबी मर रहे हैं कि क्या हो रहा है। हमें सत्ता चाटनी है, बस सत्ता का सुख हमको लेना है। ऐसे बेशर्म नेताओं को कोरोना होगा क्या, ये देखना पड़ेगा। मैं किसी को बद्दुआ नहीं देता अमूमन तौर पे, लेकिन जिस तरीके से पूरा सिस्टम चलाया जा रहा है, भगवान साक्षी है। जैसे हमारे गांव में कहते थे ना, कीड़े पड़े, मैं वैसा नहीं कहता, लेकिन उससे कम भी मेरे मन में भावना नहीं है इस वक्त। क्या अंधेर गर्दी मचा के रखी है नेताओं ने, अधिकारियों ने, सिस्टम ने। चुनाव नहीं होगा तो जान चली जाएगी क्या? सत्ता नहीं पाओगे तो मर जाओगे क्या? लेकिन सत्ता पाने की लालसा में जिस तरीके से तमाशा हमारे नेता कर रहे हैं, इस मंद बुद्धि और वैचारिक अंधेपन का शिकार हो चुके चुनाव आयोग के दौर में वो सबसे ज्यादा खतरनाक है। वो कहते हैं ना, कापर करूं सिंगार कि पिया मोरा अंधर रे। चुनाव आयोग और सत्ताधारी दल के साथ यही हो रहा है। दोनों एक दूसरे की खुजा रहे हैं सत्ता चाटने के लिए। शर्म आती है। 140-145 करोड़ के भारत में कोई भी ऐसा मर्द नेता नहीं है जो खड़े होकर मंच से कहे कि नेतागिरी बाद में, लोगों की जिंदगी बचाने का काम पहले। कोई मुख्यमंत्री, कोई प्रधान।
Get on to the market for the hubber of politics, a market for defectors. National lessons from Mukul Roy's high-profile Bengal switch by J.B. Karthikeyan. Bringing Mukul Roy back to TMC is not just Mamata Banerjee paying back BJP in its own coin. There are broader and deeper insights from the marketplace of political defectors and redefectors. First, defections often tell a bigger story. A series of high-profile departures from TMC followed Roy's exit in 2017. They tested TMC's resilience. Each defection had allowed BJP to stoke the narrative of a regime change until, of course, all came crashing down on May 2nd. Roy's homecoming is therefore also indicative of a bigger story in reverse. Second, those who switch parties are often important for the act of switching, not appointed from the cell, and Prasada should remember that. Bengal shows BJP's strategy of poaching may present some organizational challenges there and elsewhere. Reports indicate that even old loyal cadres are unhappy in Bengal and in other states. The state in its BJP's first loss anywhere after being betting big on defectors. Poaching had paid rich dividends in Assam, MP, Karnataka, Gujarat, Manipur, Goa, Tripura and Uttarakhand, and this will start falling apart. However, if power is the only glue as Bengal indicates, the going could get tougher. Recent assembly elections haven't been one-sided affairs like 14 or 15 Lok Sabha polls. So these defectors could be BJP's weak link if anti-incumbency grows. Today's regional parties like TMC, AAP, NCP, RJD, Shiv Sena, Anna DMK, YSRP and SP have all shown a strong tendency to band together when under pressure. From the infamous Gayalal in 67 to Jiten Prasada and Mukul Roy in 2021, only the urge to stay in the reckoning and stay near power is permanent, folks. Now, to the map, and let's do Hubbard the Word. Nationally, BJP in trouble. National BJP leaders in wait and see mode. BJP is waiting for situation to play out. I'm not sure what it's going to play out. Like I said, in Assam, also trouble because of removal of Sonwal. He is up in the air. God knows what he'll do. And what does Himanta has to say? He's got nothing to do. Himanta eviction. Himanta asked Muslim to control population, and a recent survey just came out to suggest that Muslims' growth rate has dropped dramatically, birth rate, and he's now in Nagpur trying to pretend he's so close to the RSS, which he never was. Gujarat also in trouble, folks. Focus on Gujarat BJP MLAs upcoming meet. There, what? Goa also in trouble. Goa polls. BL Santosh meets ministers. As I said, Karnataka in trouble. Yeti to continue as BJP leadership focuses on UP Uttarakhand polls. Uttarakhand, they're in deep shit. And they're trying to actually mess around now with Maharashtra. So Pawar dismisses doubts, says no threat to Maharashtra government after Uddhav PM meet and especially after Raut kind of praised them, right? And Punjab, right? This is the worry for the Congress because it tries to position a no good, no following, tin pot leader like Navjot Singh Sidhu, who's just a comedian, right? Congress panel on Punjab suggests rejig to accommodate key netas. SAD, BSP set to clinch pacts for Punjab. Also, Congress has to be careful, right? And so also there is a lot of attempt going on in Rajasthan, and I think if Sachin Pilot is smart, if he wants to do something, he should break away and create his own party and not join the BJP. Gehlot wins over more MLAs close to Pilot, and this is a good move by Gehlot. And then you have BJP's Joshi might have spoken to the other Sachin. This is Sachin Pilot now giving his defense. Now, folks, a little bit of what I had said earlier, and I had said that to you. April factory output dips 13% from March, and you see both sides of it. So one side will go bravo, 2020 low base fuels, 134% rise in April IIP. April factory growth soars 141. This is what Times Business says. But what Eco Times says is right. Technically, you should be looking at what happened from the previous month. April factory output dips 13% from March. This is where I bring notice to you for what Mohan Bhagwat talks about protecting Dalits in Bengal. What about in UP? 3 held for assault on Dalit youths in UP. And then, look at this. Government no need to panic on gap of Covishield despite variants. It clarifies after Fauci says longer interval could leave people vulnerable. Who do you believe? This government led by ass kissers, where they've junked science, and Baba Ramdev, or would you believe Dr. Fauci? I would put my money on Dr. Fauci, and so should you, because it's now a matter of life. No US emergency not coming. Covaxin to seek full approval. Covaxin in trouble. Efficacy data from phase 3 trials of Covaxin will be published in 7 to 8 days. Now that's kind of sad. 3rd phase, and they've taken so long, this Covaxin people. Who do you blame? You can't blame the US not to giving them emergency approval, right? I would. But in the end of the day, folks, it's fun times in domestic politics. This government, BJP, is sincerely on the back foot. If Prashant Kishore can tie these 2-3 big leaders together, especially, I would say it again, you need Mamata Banerjee, you need Sharad Pawar, you need Amrinder Singh, you need Stalin, you need Akhilesh Yadav, and you need Lallu Yadav's son. And you've got something going that this government, BJP, will not be able to counter. And if you have the farmers on your side, especially. Jai Hind.